with you. Okay. The topic for today's talk is removing the impurities of our mind. All of you have been Buddhists of good faith. You have been doing merits. You have been supporting the Sangha. You have been supporting the Dharma work. Okay, all these good things that you have been doing is very good. Okay, yeah. Come, there are some more seats here. Please come to the front. There are a few more seats here. Okay, there are 4 more seats here. 4 more empty seats here. Anybody? Yeah, please come to the front. There are 4 more empty seats. Okay. And with good faith, today, all of you have gathered here to listen to the Dharma with a hope to find inner peace. Am I right? All of us, we live a very hectic life, a very busy life. And then we have to cope with problems in our life. We have to cope with the worries in our life. So, all of you are here with good faith in the Dharma. You would like to know how to find inner peace. Now, in order for us to be able to experience inner peace, we have to cultivate the Dharma. Okay? The Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha, is not only knowledge. The Buddha taught the Dharma from his own experience. Okay? The Buddha has realized the truth, and from his realization, from his experience of the Dharma, of the truth, he shared with us this truth. Okay? So in order for us to experience inner peace, we have to cultivate the Dharma within ourselves. We have to experience the Dharma. Okay? The teachings of the Buddha can be summarized into 3 lines. Not to do all evil, to do all good, and to purify the mind. Okay? This is the teachings of all the Buddhas. Of these 3 teachings, not to do all evil, to do all good, and to purify the mind, which is the easiest? Which is the easiest to do? To avoid all evil. Are all of you observing the precepts? Actually, the easiest to do among these 3 teachings is to do all good. It is easier for us to do good. If I tell you that I'm going to build a temple, a monastery, and I need funds, can you all help and contribute whatever amount that you can? All of you definitely will fork out some money. Even $2, $3, it's so easy for us to come up with money. It is very easy for us to do good. Alright, not? So even some people, like those, even gangsters, okay, they may be bad in their own ways, but it is easy for them to do good. When they see some elderly people, it is easy for them to give money to the poor, to the elderly. So it is very easy for us to do good. But when it comes to not to do evil, then people have to think. Usually, when we say that to liberate animals, people say, okay, no problem, I like to liberate animals. But if you tell them, if you liberate this animal, then you cannot eat this type of animal again, then they will consider, like that. So I cannot liberate crabs because I still like to eat crabs. Then I cannot liberate fish because I still like to eat fish. Then how? Okay, so this is the thing. It is easier for us to do good. But when it comes to not to do evil, then we have to consider, because it is a commitment. That's why not many people is committed enough to observe the 5 precepts. They will say, wait, Venerable, it's not time yet. I'm not ready yet. But you ask them to donate money, okay, Venerable, I can. Okay, but actually, which is more important among these two? Not to do evil and to do good, which is more important? When the devotees went to make offerings to Ajahn Chah, do you know who is Ajahn Chah? Ajahn Chah is the teacher of Ajahn Brahm. Okay, he's a very famous Thai meditation master. Okay, very respected. Okay, so when the devotees went all the way to give alms to him and offer to the Sangha, he always tell them not to kill, not to drink, because he knew that all these devotees, it is easy for them to do good. It is easy for them to give alms to the monks, to the Sangha. But when they go back, they will continue with their killing. They will continue with their drinking. So, actually, it is meaningless. If we continue to do evil, okay, if we do not stop doing evil, then whatever good that we are doing is quite meaningless. That's why Ajahn Chah always advised his devotees that don't kill, do not do all evils, don't kill, don't drink, okay? So actually, between these two teachings, not to do all evils and to do all good, which is more important? Which is more important? Not to do evil. Yes, not to do evil is more important. Okay, during the Buddha's time, there was this elephant. The king had an elephant. This elephant, he led a very luxurious life. More luxurious life than some people, okay? Because in India, many people are poor. But this elephant, he lived in a palace, okay? Every day, he had attendants to bathe him. And after bathing him, the attendants would spray perfume on him, okay? And then he was fed with good food, bunches of bananas, apples. He was fed with good food, okay? And he even have shawl to wear. He was put on shawl, and he was also decorated by jewelries. He wore jewelries for these elephants. So he led a very good, luxurious life, okay? More than anyone in the city, okay? The common people in the city, okay? One day, a monk, a Buddhist disciple, happened to walk past the palace, and he saw the elephants, okay? So at that time, the elephants was out in the park. So this Buddhist disciple saw the elephants. He ran over to him, stroked him, and then he said something into his ears. Then after that, he walked away. After meeting the Buddhist disciple, this elephant, he lost his appetite to eat anymore for the rest of the day. And he refused to eat for the next few days. And thereafter, he fell sick and he died. So when this thing was being reported to the king asked, so what did the monk tell the elephants such that he did not want to eat anymore? And in the end, he starved himself and died. Okay? So the king asked the Buddha's disciple to the palace, and the king questioned the Buddha's disciple. And the Buddha's disciple said that, oh, Actually, I only told him that he is born now as an elephant because in the past life, okay, he only knew how to do merits, but he did not observe precepts, and he committed evils. So because of the merits that he had done, okay, he is able to lead a good life now, a luxurious life now. But because of the evils that he had done, he could not get a human body. He was born in the realm of an animal. Okay? I only told him this. But the elephant, having heard that, he felt very ashamed. He felt very upset. And he realized that this animal body is not worthy. Although he could enjoy all the comforts and luxuries, but he's still an animal. That's why he starved himself to death. Okay? So from this story, we can understand that if we only do good, we only cultivate merits. But just by doing good, just by having merits, is not enough. If we do not stop doing evil, then we will not be born as a human being in our next birth. And although we have the merits to enjoy comforts, enjoy good life, but it is no use. We are born as an animal. So, not to do evil is very important. It's only when we don't do evil, when we observe the precepts, okay? This observing of precepts will be able to enable us to gain a human birth. That's why between not to do evils and to do good, it is not to do evil is more important. Okay, so we have to remind ourselves about this. And if we can stop doing evils, okay, if we can, in our body, physical actions, okay, and in our speech, is actually the first step. It's actually the first step in our Dharma practice. The first step in our Dharma practice is not to do evils and to do good. So we have to give a serious thought, okay, to observing the precepts. And not just thinking that, I have a good heart, that is good enough. So long as I have a kind heart, that is good enough. That is not good enough. That is not enough. If you claim to have a kind heart, but you still kill ants, you still kill cockroaches, you still tell lies, there is consequences to your actions. So having a kind heart only is not good enough. Doing merits only is not good enough. We seriously must give a thought to think, to commit ourselves to observing the precepts. And do you know the precepts? Just now you have recited. You know the precepts? That is the guidelines for lay people to follow. Okay, the first precept is not to kill. Second, not to steal. Third, no sexual misconduct. Fourth, not to lie. And fifth, no intoxication of drinks and drugs. So we must really give a thought to observing these precepts, because it is for our benefits that we observe these precepts. Okay? And like just now, I say, we are all here to learn the Dharma because we all want to find inner peace. Peace cannot be experienced in our mind if we do not abandon evil. Okay? If we still kill, if we steal, if we have sexual misconduct, if we tell lies, if we drink, we will not be able to experience true peace in our mind. Okay? So actually, not to do evils in our physical actions and in our speech is also the first step to achieving inner peace. Okay? Then, when we really want to achieve this inner peace, we actually have to look into our mind. Okay? What are the impurities of our mind? Okay? Because the first step, like I say, the first step is we abstain from evil and to do all good. Okay? By doing that, it is the first step to experience. It is the first step towards experience inner peace. But without examining the mind, okay, if we only observe morality, we will still experience unhappiness in our mind. For example, some people, they can observe the precepts, they can do merits, but they still experience unhappiness in their mind. If there is anger in their mind, you agree with me? If your mind holds on to some anger, some displeasure towards some people or towards something, then although you are observing the precepts, although you do merits, but you cannot totally be happy. You agree? So, if we want to have true happiness, then we must look into our mind. Why is it that we cannot be happy? That is because there is anger in our mind. There is dissatisfaction in our mind. There's hatred in our mind towards some people. Okay? There's craving in our mind. There's expectation in our mind. There's frustration, agitation in our mind. All these are called impurities. Why are they called impurities? Because they are things that make our mind impure, okay? And they bring about suffering to our mind. They bring about unhappiness in our mind. That's why they are called impurities, okay? So, if we want to have inner peace, we have to remove these impurities from our mind. Because it is these impurities that cause our suffering. Let me tell you a story. Okay? There was one time the Buddha was staying at the Jeta Grove, Jeta Wood, at the Anathapindika's monastery. Okay? So at that time, the Buddha and his bhikkhus, they were greatly respected and honored by the people. So they received a lot of offerings. Okay? They received alms food, they received food, lodgings, medicines, and all the daily requisites. They received in abundance from the people. Okay? Because the people have faith in the Buddha and his disciples. Now, there are other religions existing also at that time. So, they did not receive such respect from the people. They did not receive such abundance of food and requisites. So these religious people, they were jealous of the Buddha and his disciples. Okay. So there's this one religious group. Out of jealousy, they were thinking of how they would make the people lose faith in the Buddha and his Sangha. So one day, the religious people of this group, they approached one of the lady follower and they asked her, "Sister, can you do something for the good of the kinsman?" So this lady said, "Can. If there's anything that I can do for the sake of my kinsman, I will do, even at the sacrifice of my life." So then these religious people told her that, "Oh, that's very good. Then this is what you should do. You try to go to the Buddhist monastery often, okay? Let people see that you go to the Buddhist monastery often." Okay. So this lady said, "Okay," and she followed the instruction. So for days, okay, she went to the monastery early in the morning, and she left the monastery only very late in the day, and she was seen by many people going often to the monastery, okay, in this way. After that, the religious people killed her, okay, killed her, and then they buried her body. They dug a hole in the ditch, in the woods, okay, in the Jeta woods, and they buried her body there. Okay. Then after that, they went to report to the king and told the king that, oh, one of our lady followers was missing. So the king asked them, where do you think she could be found? So they said that, oh, we suspected that she could be found in the Jeta wood because she had been frequenting the Buddha's monastery to visit the Buddha. Okay, so they searched the whole Jeta wood, and then they dug out this corpse from the ditch. Okay, so this religious men, okay, they put the corpse on a stretcher, and then they paraded the corpse around the streets of the city. And as they went from street to street, they said, oh, you see, the followers of the Shakyan son, they are immoral people. They are of bad conduct. They are shameless people. They are not recluses at all. They have lost their status as a recluse. See what they have done. After taking their manly pleasures, they have murdered the woman, okay, and they spread these rumors. So when the people in the city heard about this, they were all shocked, okay, and they started to believe these rumors, okay, and so when they see the Buddhist disciples going around the city for alms, they started to scold the bhikkhus, scolding them that you are not recluses at all, you are shameless, you are immoral. How can you murder a woman after taking your manly pleasures? Okay. So upon hearing this, the bhikkhus, they were a little disturbed. Okay. So they reported this to the Buddha. And the Buddha is very calm. The Buddha was very calm. Okay. The Buddha was not disturbed at all. And the Buddha said, not to worry. Okay. This commotion would only last for 7 days. After 7 days, this commotion would stop. But when you hear people scolding you in harsh words, abusing you, you all should clarify. You all should just tell them these few statements. False accuser, go to the hell. Likewise, do people, okay, who lie. Okay? Both these people would become equal hereafter. People of low, of base actions in the life hereafter. Okay? So, the bhikkhus, when they went for alms round, and when they heard these people scolding them, they clarify, they asserted their innocence by saying these few sentences. Okay? So these people, when they heard what the bhikkhus said, then they thought to themselves, oh, so the bhikkhus did not do this thing. You see, they are asserting their innocence. They said that false accusers would go to hell. Likewise, are people who lied. So if they have done such a thing, and if they lie, then they would go to hell also. I'm so sorry. Forgot to off my handphone. Okay. Yeah. So then the people, after 7 days, they knew that these are all false words. Okay. They are just rumors. So they did not mention about this anymore. Really, after 7 days. Okay. So the bhikkhus reported to the Buddha that, oh, Buddha, what you said were really true. They have really stopped scolding us after 7 days. So the Buddha said, okay, uncontrolled people pierce people with words, just like how they pierce an elephant in a battle, okay, with arrows. Upon hearing harsh words, a bhikkhu should endure without hatred. Okay? So, how is it that the Buddha can remain so calm? When people in the city were full of, distrust towards him and things like that, he could remain so calm, without anger, without hatred, because there's no anger in him. There's no hatred in him. That's why he can remain so calm. Okay? So, likewise, if we want to have calmness, if we want to have inner peace, we have to remove the impurities in us, the anger in us, okay? The hatred, the displeasures, the dissatisfactions in us, okay? Now, let us talk on how to remove our impurities. The first step to remove our impurities is actually that we must have awareness. We must have mindfulness. We must be able to know that actually we have these impurities in our mind. Many a times, we think that we don't have all these impurities. We think that we are good. We think that we don't have anger. We think that we don't have greed. That is because, yes, you may not have anger at this moment. You may not have greed at this moment. Okay? But it does not mean that this anger and greed does not exist in your mind. Anger, greed, dissatisfaction, hatred, all these impurities they exist at different levels. Okay? Some of our impurities are more subtle. Some of our impurities are more gross. Okay? So when we don't show the gross impurities like anger, hatred, cravings, it does not mean that they do not exist in our mind. They still do exist in our mind. Okay? When there are conditions, when there are people who provoke you, when the people who do things that you don't like, then these are the conditions that may arise anger in your mind. Okay? So, the first step to remove the impurities in our mind is we have to be mindful of our thoughts. Mindful meaning that we have to be aware of our thoughts. Okay? When you are aware of your thoughts, then you will be able to recognize the impurities, okay, in our mind. Let me ask you, are you aware of your thoughts when you are making donation? Are you? Some people, when they are making donation, yes, they are very happy to make donation. Okay? The first thought is happy. But when they are deciding how much to donate, then there is a mixture of thoughts coming in. Okay? The first thought is, okay, $50. Then the second thought, don't need so much lah. $30 will do. Okay? Then there's a struggle in you. No, I must be generous. Okay, $50. Okay. Then after that, okay, after making a donation, then a little regrets arise in your mind. Actually don't need so much lah. $30 will do. Then I can save the $20 for another round of donation. Okay? Now what is this? If you are able to observe your mind, your thoughts, there is still some clinging to the wealth. There's still some stinginess in us. Okay? When we practice giving, what are we practicing? We are practicing generosity. Okay? So, generosity means open-handed, delighting in sharing, delighting in giving. You are happy to give, you are happy to share, okay? And generosity means without a stain of stinginess, without a stain, okay? But sometimes we donate. We are not very willing. But because you are being approached, and you remember that, yes, we have to try to practice giving. So, you give. But not wholeheartedly. Not totally delighting, okay? But with some stinginess inside, okay? When we do not give wholeheartedly, open-handed, okay? Open-hearted, there is some element of stinginess in us, okay? Then that is not generosity yet, okay? So that's why when we practice giving, it's actually not how much we give. Generosity is not how much, but how happy you give. So if you are happy to give only $2, then just give that and be happy with it, and you get the merits. Rather than you force yourself, when you force yourself to give more, that is also, the impurity is greed. Because you want more merits. You think that maybe give more, you will have more merits. So that is greed, okay? Then after giving, you have regrets. Actually don't need to give so much. That is stinginess, okay? So when we are able to observe our thoughts, we will be able to recognize that, oh, actually, I'm still not generous enough. Oh, actually, I'm still stingy. I still have a sense of stinginess in me. So we have to learn how to give generously. Like what I say, to give generously does not mean you give a lot, but you give happily. What you can give, you give happily. Okay? Slowly, this is what you can part. The amount you can part with more, you give more. But if you can't, it's okay. Okay? The most important thing is we give happily. Okay? So that is the thing. We have to learn how to observe our thoughts. When we don't observe our mind, we will not be able to identify our impurities. And we think that we are very good. Some people, having done the donation, they feel good. They think, I'm not bad now, you see. I am generous enough to donate $100. What is this? I'm not bad. I'm quite good. That is conceit. Conceit is proud. The pride. You think that you are good. That is actually impurity. Okay? So, but without observing our thoughts, we will never see the impurities in our mind. We think that we are very good. So we have to learn to observe our thoughts. For example, when you see someone whom you don't like, okay? Dislike arises in your mind. Okay? You see this person in the center. Oh, you don't really like this person, although you don't actually know why. But dislike arises in your mind. Okay? And then little actions that she does, it sort of agitate your mind. Okay? Watch this thought. Watch this mental state of yours. That's an impurity. Maybe you would think that if this person, she's not very refined in her mannerism, she seems to talk loudly and things like that. But there's no fault on hers. That's just the nature. But when we don't like something about other people, that is actually our own problem. That is our own impurity. That is our own anger. Okay? That we don't like other people. Who are we not to like other people? Are we so lovable to other people? So when we don't like other people, when we have displeasure towards other people, that is the impurities of the mind. Understand? Then are you ever aware of the comparing attitude in your mind? Sometimes when you look at this person, then you tend to compare. Oh, she's almost the same age as me, but she has more white hair, no? I don't have so much white hair, no? And then, she has more wrinkles on her face. I don't have, no? I look more youthful, no? There, this sense of superiority. No, we have this kind of sense of superiority. That is also impurity. Then sometimes you not only compare this person with you, you compare their children with your children. My children better, no? Yes, although sometimes they are lazy, but they are not so bad. That is what? Pride, conceit. That is still the I. The I is still there. Okay? So we have to observe our thoughts. When we observe our thoughts, then you will see, there's so much impurities in our mind. How? It's very bad. Now, actually, it is very good. It is actually very good if you can see the impurities in your mind. I will be very happy for you if you can see. Because usually, we push these thoughts away. We are not aware that we actually have such thoughts. And when, with a slight awareness of such thoughts, we quickly push them away. And then we say that, no, I didn't think like that. I don't think like that. I don't have such thoughts. That's what we usually do. We deny such thoughts in us. We don't want to look at such thoughts. We do not acknowledge that we actually have such thoughts. But by doing so, does not make us a pure person. Does not make our mind pure. We are only, rejecting to see the impurities in our mind. So first of all, if we can observe our thoughts, if we can observe our mind, and we can realize that, actually I have such a thoughts, actually there are these impurities in our mind, you have improved. Okay? If you have observed the impurities of your mind, you've actually improved. Okay, why? Because that is the first step to removing the impurities. The first step to removing the impurities is you must be able to recognize these impurities. Then you will know how to remove them. Okay? So when you see the impurities in your mind, okay, then the next step is you should put in the efforts, the right efforts, to remove these impurities by letting go of these thoughts. By letting go. Okay? But first of all, you must acknowledge that you have such thoughts first. You must recognize that you actually have such a thought. This is an impurity. Okay? You must actually recognize and acknowledge first. Then you don't continue with these thoughts. Okay? When you don't continue with thoughts of anger, when you don't continue with thoughts of pride, then you are purifying the impurities. The Buddha said that before he attained Buddhahood, while he was practicing as a bodhisattva, okay, and when he was meditating, thoughts arise in his mind. And then he asked himself, let me try to classify my thoughts, okay? And he found that, his thoughts can be classified into these few categories. First, he can classify the thoughts into thoughts of sensual desire. Then, thoughts of anger, thoughts of ill will. Okay, that is another category. And the third category is thoughts of cruelty. So when he looked at his thoughts, he found that his thoughts can be classified into these three categories on the one side, and on the other side is thoughts of renunciation, thoughts of not attaching to sensual desires, okay? Then thoughts of non-ill will and thoughts of non-cruelty, okay? So actually, he found that he can classify his thoughts into wholesome and unwholesome thoughts. In the wholesome thoughts, there is thoughts of renunciation of sensual desires, thoughts of non-ill will, and thoughts of non-cruelty. Then on the unwholesome side is thoughts of sensual desire, thoughts of ill will, and thoughts of cruelty. Okay? So the Buddha, okay, when he arise thoughts of sensual desire, when he arise thoughts of ill will, anger, when he arise thoughts of cruelty, what did the Buddha do? He thought to himself in this way: these thoughts of anger, these thoughts of ill will, these thoughts of sensual desire, they lead to my suffering. These thoughts lead to the suffering of other people. These thoughts lead to my suffering and other people's suffering. And these thoughts obstruct wisdom. These thoughts would create difficulties. And these thoughts lead me away from enlightenment. So when he considered in this way, he let go of these thoughts, these unwholesome thoughts. Okay? And when wholesome thoughts arise in his mind, wholesome thoughts like loving kindness, compassion, non-anger, non-hatred, when such thoughts arise in his mind, he realized that these thoughts will not lead to my suffering, will not lead to other people's suffering, it will not obstruct wisdom, it will not create difficulties, it will lead me towards enlightenment, so it's okay to have these thoughts. Okay? So this is how we should do also, when we recognize the thoughts that arise in our mind. Okay? If it is a wholesome thought, we can tell ourselves that, yes, it's okay, this thought is okay to have in my mind. But if this is an unwholesome thought, a thought that carries impurities, then we should let go of these thoughts. That is the right effort. Okay? The right effort is to remove whatever unwholesome thoughts that arise in your mind. Okay? And when we do this way, okay, we will be able to purify the impurities in our mind. Okay? Now, there's this monk, okay? He joined the monkhood not because he wanted to practice, okay? He was actually he was from a poor family, okay? And so he was actually a farmer, okay, that do the plowing work for other people. So one day he met a monk, and this monk asked him, since you are doing such a work, you do not have good livelihood, why not you join the monkhood? Then you will have sufficient food to eat. You will have a shelter. Okay, you have good place for shelter and things like that. So this poor man said, but who would want to ordain me as a monk? For someone who is doing this kind of work, okay, who would want to ordain me? So this monk said, if you want to become a monk, I can ordain you. Okay. So this poor man said, okay then, I would like to become a monk. So in him, actually he just wanted a good life. Okay. So this monk brought this poor man to the monastery, and then he shaved his head and ordained him as a monk. So for a few days, this poor man having become a monk, okay, for a few days he was living on good food, okay, and things like that. He did not need to work. He did not need to do plowing for people, okay? So he was happy. But after a few days, discontentment arose in his mind. And then he thought to himself, I think I don't want to wear this monk's robes anymore. It's quite a boring life. I would like to go back to the lay life and maybe work for people again, okay? So when he had these thoughts, he recognized that, discontentment had arisen in my mind. He recognized this. So he went to a tree in the monastery, where he hang his ragged clothing before he renounced. Okay, because after renouncing, he hang his ragged clothing, okay, and his plow on the branch of the tree, in one part of the monastery, in the compound of the monastery. So when he had this discontented thoughts, he went to the foot of the tree. He looked at the clothes that he hang and the plow, and then he started to scold himself. He said that, you are a shameless person. How can you have such thoughts? So you want to give up this noble birth and go back to the lay life, and you like to work for people again. So he started scolding himself at the foot of the tree. Okay? After scolding himself, he is able to change his mind. And then he told himself, no, I must work hard. I must be a good monk. Okay? And then he went back to practice again. So his fellow monks saw him. Every other day he would go to the tree. And I don't know what he's doing there. Okay? So they started to make fun of him. So they said, hey, Venerable so-and-so, why is it that you're always frequenting that tree? We see you every other day, okay? You go to the tree and don't know what you're rattling on under the tree. So this monk told his fellow mates that, I'm going to see my teacher, okay, at the tree, like that. Okay? So this monk he was very diligent. Whenever he realized that, thoughts of discontentment had arisen in his mind, he went to the tree and he scolded himself. Okay? In this way, he tried to purify his mind. Okay? By scolding himself, by admonishing himself that he should not have such unwholesome thoughts. Okay? He should be a good monk, he should be diligent. So after some time, because of his efforts, he attained arahanthood. After he attained arahanthood, he no longer went to the tree. So his fellow monks thought to themselves, for this period of time, we don't see him going to the tree anymore, huh? Maybe let us ask him why he did not go to the tree anymore. So they went to the monk and they asked, Venerable so-and-so, why is it that nowadays you seldom take this path to go to the tree? Is it that you're not visiting your teacher anymore? They make fun of him. Okay? So then this monk said, when I am of the world, when I'm connected to the world, okay, I still go to my teacher. But now that I am not connected with the world anymore, I'm out of the world, okay, I no longer need to visit my teacher. So then these monks talk to themselves, so he's claiming that he's an arahant. So he's telling lies. Okay? So they went to report to the Buddha, saying that, so-and-so said that, say these things. And he is claiming so in this way he's claiming that he's an arahant. But he's actually telling lies. Am I right not? Buddha. So the Buddha said, no, he's actually quite true. He's actually telling the truth. He says, indeed, attain arahanthood. Okay? So, we have to know that we have to put in the efforts ourselves to look into our mind, to remove the impurities of our mind, like how this monk has done. Okay, when he observed that impurities have arisen in his mind, okay, he told himself, no, he should not have such thoughts. He should be diligent and he should be a good monk. Likewise, we have to observe our thoughts and we have to make the efforts to purify whatever defilements that we see in our mind. Okay? And when we do so, if we keep on doing so, we will be able to purify ourselves. We will be able to move towards enlightenment. Otherwise, there's no way we can move towards enlightenment. So we must look into our thoughts. We must look into our mind. Okay? Now, so that the first step is we must be able to recognize our impurities. And how to recognize our impurities? We must be aware of our thoughts. Look at our thoughts. Okay? Look at the thoughts that arise in our mind. Second, after recognizing such thoughts, we must make an effort to abandon the thoughts. Okay? We can abandon the thoughts by cultivating the opposites to the thoughts. When you have anger, you try to cultivate loving kindness. You try to cultivate forgiveness. Okay? When you have when you have hatred, you try to cultivate compassion. Telling ourselves that, oh, everyone is suffering. Let us not have cruel thoughts, harmful thoughts towards others. Let us wish others to be free from suffering also. This is a compassion thought. Okay? So we can cultivate the opposite good thoughts to these unwholesome thoughts. And by doing so, we can purify our impurities. Okay? And it is always good that we can recall the virtues of the Buddha. The virtues of the Buddha and his disciples. When we always recall their virtues, how the Buddha is without anger. Okay, how his disciples, his great disciples, the Arahant disciples, they are totally without anger and hatred. That will motivate us to be like them also. There was once a Brahmin, okay, went to see the Buddha. When he went to see the Buddha, he just scolded the Buddha with harsh words. And the Buddha, what did the Buddha do? How did he react when this Brahmin scolded him? The Buddha his mind was totally calm, was not shaken at all. How will you react if people scold you? If people abuse you with harsh words, how will you react? You'll be very angry, right now. You will think, why do you scold me in this way? What have I done to deserve such harsh words from you? You will think in this way, and there's anger. But for the Buddha, he's totally calm, unshaken in his mind, unruffled in his mind, because he has totally no anger in his mind. And after this Brahmin has scolded him, this Brahmin was very breathless. After scolding the Buddha, then the Buddha asked him, Have you spoken all that you wanted to say? Then the Brahmin said, yes. Very breathless, yes. Okay. Then the Buddha asked him this question. Let me ask you a question. If you bring a gift to want to give your friend, okay? You bring this gift to your friend's house, wanting to give your friend. But your friend did not want it. Then what will you do with this gift? Then the Brahmin said, then I will take it back. So the Buddha said, okay, what you have said to me just now, I don't need it. So you can take it back. So at that point of time, the Brahmin was shaken, What all the harsh words that he has thrown onto the Buddha, he felt all the harsh words all falling back upon him. So the Buddha told him, a person who tried to abuse another person with harsh words is just like a person who tried to dirty the sky by spitting into the sky. When you spit into the sky, what happened? The spitter will drop into your face, right? You think that you want to dirty the sky with your harsh words, but you want to dirty the sky with a spitter, but the spitter dropped onto your face. So the Buddha taught the Brahmin, you thought that you want to abuse another person with harsh words, but actually you get all the harsh words back yourself. Okay? So the Buddha is totally without anger. And Shariputra, the Buddha's great disciple. You know Shariputra? Shariputra is also very inspiring when you can recall his virtues, his great virtues of non-anger, non-hatred. Okay? There was once a monk, okay? He was angry with Shariputra because Shariputra did not address him by his family name, by his personal name. And Shariputra addressed other monks using their personal name or family names. So this monk was angry. He thought, oh, Shariputra did not greet me, as cordially as how he greeted the other monks. So he was angry with Shariputra. And then another occasion, Shariputra's robes happened to brush against his body. And then he got very annoyed. He think that, Shariputra, his anger, it increased his grudges against Shariputra. So he went to complain to the Buddha. And he made a false complaint. Okay, he actually slandered Shariputra. He told the Buddha that, oh, this is what Shariputra had done. He gave me a great blow at my head, and that almost made my ears deaf. And then without apologizing to me, he just left. Okay? So the Buddha called Shariputra to their presence. And then the Buddha asked Shariputra, oh, so did you do such a thing? This monk said that you gave him a great blow on his head that almost caused his ears to go deaf. Did you do such a thing? So Shariputra was very calm. Shariputra said, if a person who is not mindful about his body, who is not mindful about his bodily actions, he may do such a thing. Okay? But I have been practicing mindfulness in my body, speech, and mind. Okay? And my mind is like the earth. The earth is very firm and unshaken. The earth is equanimous. It does not choose clean or unclean things. Whatever things we throw onto the earth is equanimous. So Shariputra said, my mind is like the earth. My mind is like the water. The water also does not differentiate. Whatever animals that swim in the water, whatever the things that we throw into the water does not feel anger. Okay? It's equanimous. So in this way, Shariputra said that his mind is equanimous. Okay? Like earth, like water, like fire, like wind. Okay? So when Shariputra made this assertion, okay, the monk could not take it anymore, because that is the great virtues of Shariputra. The monk could not hold his guilt anymore. He immediately fell onto the ground, kneeled onto the ground, and asked for forgiveness from the Buddha. Then the Buddha told Shariputra, Shariputra, you have to forgive this monk. Otherwise, his head will be split into 7 pieces because of the grievous karma that he had done. Okay? So Shariputra clapped his palms, and Shariputra said, I forgive you. And if I have offended you in any way, please forgive me also. You see how humble is Shariputra? He is the great disciple. The Buddha have announced that he's a great disciple among the monks, okay? And he is an arahant, but he can be so humble. And in this case, in this incident, he was wrongly accused by this monk. And without anger and hatred, he forgave this monk. And on top of that, he still asked for forgiveness. It's really an act of great humility. He said that if I have offended you in any ways, please forgive me also. So all the other monks who were around, who heard this, who witnessed this incident, they were all full of great admiration for Shariputra. Okay? Then there was another incident. Shariputra was meditating in the open, okay? That was a moonlit night. Shariputra just shaved his head and he was meditating very peacefully. And he went into a certain level of concentration. Then it happens that there are two yakshas. Yakshas are human-eating demons, okay? Two yakshas. They happen to flew by, okay? And then they passed by, okay? And then they saw Shariputra. So one yaksha, it arose in his mind that I want to give a blow to the head of this recluse. Then the other yaksha told him, take care, my friend. Please don't do that. Please don't strike this recluse. He is a great recluse. You cannot do such a thing. Okay? Then the first yaksha said again, but I still feel like giving him a blow on his head because he saw Shariputra's head very cleanly shaven. So then the second yaksha reminded him, no, friend, he is a great recluse. You cannot do that. But upon persuasion from his friend the second time, this first yaksha still could not give up the idea of striking a blow, okay, at Shariputra's head. So the third time he said, I still feel like giving him a blow, okay? Then the third time, the second yaksha, tried to persuade him again. Please don't do that. He's a great recluse, okay? He has great powers. So ignoring the second yaksha's advice, this first yaksha went ahead and he gave a great blow at Shariputra's head, okay? So great was the blow that such a blow would hit an elephant, a huge elephant, down. And such great is the blow that it will split the mountain peak. That is how great the blow, okay? Moggallana saw this with his divine eyes. Moggallana has supernatural powers. So Moggallana saw this. So what? He saw what the yaksha did to Shariputra. So and Moggallana waited to see Shariputra's reaction. But Shariputra was motionless. He continued in his meditation. And when he arose from his meditation, Moggallana went to ask him, are you okay? Are you unwell? So Shariputra said, I'm okay. I'm well. Just that I have a little headache. Then Moggallana was full of praise to Shariputra. Okay, full of praise for Shariputra. And Moggallana said, oh, you really have great powers. Just now a yaksha struck a blow at your head. And this blow could cause the mountain peak to split and could cause the elephants, okay, can fall an elephant. But you only mentioned that it's only a headache, a slight headache. You really have great powers. Then Shariputra commented back about Moggallana. Oh, Moggallana, you have great powers. You have great powers that you can see the yaksha in the first place. So the Buddha heard their conversation. The Buddha has a divine ear, and the Buddha heard their conversation. Upon hearing that conversation, the Buddha said that Shariputra's mind is very solid like the mountain. Shariputra's mind is very steady and it is unperturbed. His mind is unattached to things that cause attachment. His mind is unangered by things that provoke anger. For such a cultivated mind, no suffering will go to him. Okay? So from here we can see, okay, we have to try to cultivate non-anger, non-hatred, okay, non-attachment, non-craving. When we can purify our mind in this way, we will be able to experience inner peace. inner peace can actually be experienced only when we purify our mind. Okay? So when we look into our mind, when we look into our thoughts, when we recognize the impurities of our mind, and when we make the efforts, okay, to remove thoughts of impurities, we'll slowly purify these impurities. Okay? Okay, so that is how slowly we'll be able to experience inner peace. Actually, to purify these impurities, it takes some time. It's not every time when you see your anger will not arise. Sometimes when you see your anger, when anger has arisen in you, you see your anger, you know. But the anger is still there. Although you know that this anger, it is your own anger that caused you to suffer. But the anger is still there. So what do? You just know. Just maintain the mindfulness. Just know that, oh, now anger has arisen. Because just now this person says such a thing. You just know. But you don't go on with the anger. You don't go on with the thoughts. You don't react out of anger. You just know. Just know will do. Just know that, okay, there's this anger. But the anger may still be there. The angry feeling may still be there. It's okay. You just bear with the feeling without reacting to it. In this way, slowly, this anger will lessen, okay? And it will disappear in your mind. Because thoughts arise and passes away. Feelings arises and passes away. So when angry feelings arise in our mind, we must be patient. Just be patient. Don't react. Just know that is being mindful, being aware. Just know, don't react. Then this angry feeling will pass away. And then you'll be glad that, oh, I have not spoken out of anger. I have not done anything harsh out of anger. Okay? So that is how we can remove the impurities in our mind. Okay? You have any questions?
Thank you, Venerable, for the inspiring and motivating talk.
Okay.